first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hello everyone, this is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. I wanted to pull this up. That is a live shot of Lincoln City right there from our Chinook Winds Casino camera. Taking a look at that beach. It looks nice. It looks really nice. I'm a little bit jealous that I'm not over there right now, but we're going to be talking about Lincoln City today, including these glass floats. If you have ever been over to the coast when these things are dropped out, it is a hot commodity, highly sought after item. These glass floats, thousands of them, are dropped over there on the coast every year for people to go out and find, to take home, have a treasure. And we're going to be talking about how that all started. So Finders Keepers is the organization. We're going to talk about the history of that and a new exhibit over in Lincoln City celebrating this entire thing. And to do so, right now, we are joined by Stephanie Hull from Explore Lincoln City. We've got Christopher Melton from the North Lincoln County Museum. And both of you, thank you very much for joining us here today. I'm excited to talk about this. I'm just going to pull you straight up there because that's just an awesome shot of what you have going on right there. But, you know, to start off, for everybody, if in case they're not familiar with it, or maybe they are familiar with like the glass floats, they may not know the history of this, and that's what we're going to be covering here today. Stephanie, would you mind giving us some of the history here of Finders Keepers?
Yes. So it started 25 years ago. There was an artist who came up with this awesome idea to drop glass floats on the beach. And a group of artisans handcrafted those floats to celebrate the new millennium. And it came from the idea of Japanese antique fishing floats that you would find along the beach from the 50s through the 70s. And so wanted to ring in that new millennium with those floats. The city of Lincoln City was lucky enough to sponsor that inaugural season, and Explore Lincoln City took over in the second season, creating Finders Keepers, and it's been going along the beaches ever since.
I mean, that's a pretty awesome origin story just of that, but, you know, 25 years of doing this. And let's talk about the floats themselves, because, you know, as I mentioned, I've got one here, but you've got obviously some great ones there. So who actually makes these? That for the Finders Keepers to put out there?
We have glass artists from all over Oregon, the Oregon coast, and Washington that handcraft these floats for us every single year. And there's so many different styles and techniques that go into it. It's such an amazing process to be a part of, for sure.
And as far as them being placed out there, so I guess one question, obviously there's no environmental concerns, right, when it comes to the glass floats?
No, we definitely make sure our float ferries hide them below the high tide line so they won't get swept out to sea. We don't have them in an embankment, so that way the environment and people are safe as they go treasure hunting.
And when it comes to that treasure hunting, so I have gone out there before myself and tried to find them. I have never been lucky enough to do it. And you have the float ferries who set those out there. So tell me about the strategy there, because I will say that I've sat and had like lunch over at the coast, and we'll look out and watch people walking around like, I wonder if that person has the floats and they're dropping them off, you know, trying to guess who it is. So who is it that's going out there and dropping them off, and what's the strategy behind that?
It's actually quite a heavy process to become a float fairy. And it is so secretive that myself and some of my coworkers, we don't even know their names. There's 1 to 2 people on staff that know their names, and I am not one of them, which is quite interesting. And some of them actually have been a part of the program since the very beginning. I was told that there are some coworkers that are float fairies and neither of them know it. So it's quite a really interesting piece of secrecy there. But yeah, the strategy basically is to not get caught or outed, because then you can't be a part of the program anymore. So we want to make sure that those floats are found, but also at the same point in time, we want to make sure that those fairies are able to drop, you know, during daylight hours.
Man, yeah, what an organization. I wonder if they have like a secret handshake or a nod when you're out on the beach or something. So that's how they keep it. That makes sense. Like if you don't even know who they are, that are out there dropping those off. So that's part of that hunt, part of the fun for it. And now, you know, we have this exhibit, which looks like you're in front of part of that exhibit right now. And Christopher, could you tell us, tell us about the museum and also about this exhibit and how this came about?
Yeah, so North Lincoln County Historical Museum, we're located in Taft, Oregon, or the south part of Lincoln City. We cover the history from just south of Depot Bay all the way up to Cascade Head, so it's a pretty small region. but tons of history. And we have whole history floor dedicated to early history, and then upstairs we have a lot of exhibits about a lot of the tourism industry, because that's really kind of what has made Lincoln City what it is today. This exhibit here, we're really excited to have. It is our most recent and probably longest going tourist program. And the exhibit contains lots of information on how the program started, about that first year, how the artists came together to do it. And then we have a float from every single year from 2000 up to soon 2025.
Wow. So you have something from each one of those. And something to clarify, how many floats are dropped every year?
Right now, we average roughly around 3,000 floats per year. When it initially started, it would go from whatever year it was. So it was 2000, there'd be 2000 floats. 2001, there'd be 2001 floats. And in 2019, on our 20th anniversary, we decided that we were going to go ahead and drop 3,000 all year round. So that's when it shifted.
And so this happens year round. So it's not just a specific season. These floats are being dropped all the time?
From 2019 on, yes. It started kind of on an off-shoulder program, and it was so popular, we wanted to make sure that whether you're visiting in the summertime, you still have a chance to potentially get a float. So from 2019 on, it is absolutely year-round. The only time we don't drop is when it's inclement weather or king tides, where we want people to be safe.
Gotcha. And, since you've started this, over this 25 years of this, obviously it's become extremely popular. And you mentioned the tourist aspect of it. So is this bringing people in, probably not just from Oregon or the Northwest? I would imagine it brings people in from all over the place to look for these.
Yeah, actually, surprisingly, I just heard a story this morning. A gentleman came over from Australia yesterday and happened to find a float and came into our offices to register it to get the artist photography and to learn more about the program. He found out about Finders Keepers, was spending some time here on the Oregon coast, and was lucky enough to find one, which is just so cool.
That's awesome. Again, I still have not found one, but good for him. So now that talking about that, if you are to find one over there, and you just mentioned bringing it in to register it, so can you tell us about that? What is bringing it in to register it to?
Yeah, so a traditional float will have a sticker on it that says Finders Keepers, and there's a QR code, a phone number, a different way to communicate. And we can either send through the mail, or if you are still in Lincoln City, pop on over to our office at City Hall, and you'll get a certificate of authenticity. You will get a biography about the unique artist that created that specific float. Every float is hand etched with a unique number and also signed by the artist that made them. And starting in 2025, to celebrate our 25th anniversary, every month we're going to drop metallic floats for kind of our silver anniversary. And when you register your float, we have Finders Keepers 2025 unique glass coins that are specific to this year if you register your float in 2025. Wow.
So there we go. So this is like starting in January?
Correct. Yep. Starting in January.
Okay, so everybody can make their plans right there for that coming up. Talking about the history of this and just how involved it's been for Lincoln City, Chris, could you tell us just a little bit about how important this has been for Lincoln City as a whole since its start 25 years ago?
Yeah, I mean, finding glass floats on our beaches has been something people have been doing since white people first moved out here in the early 1900s. They've been floating over from Japan. It's been such a huge part of being on the beach, exploring Oregon's beaches. That sort of went away once nylon ropes were invented and floats stopped being lost by fishermen. So when these artists created this event in 2000 to celebrate the millennium and to bring some of that beachcombing, treasure hunting spirit back, that created such a wonderful experience for the visitor. And they just sort of grew and kept going. It's
yeah, it's just really just a part of the culture over there, and a part of Oregon. And I think that talking about the person from Australia and just showcasing what this has done, you know, and the joy that it brings, you know, for so many people just to be able to go out there and know that there's something going on. And I'm still fascinated by these float fairies. But Stephanie, you know, I think the kind of the last thing here, just for everybody out there, you know, for people who have maybe never gone out to try to find this and try to find one of these floats, what do you think is a good strategy for someone if they want to go out and try to get lucky enough to find one?
I always equate it to, you know, when you lose your car keys and you're panicking and you're just scanning and looking and trying to find them. Don't do that. Just relax, take a breath, enjoy the beautiful scenery around you, and you just might happen to stumble upon a float.
So stop trying so hard.
Don't try so hard. Just kind of like, you know, take a breath, enjoy the scenery, and you can maybe stumble upon it. And to Chris's point about the history and everything of the program, one really great thing that you can see while you're here at the museum, along with this exhibit, are some of those antique Japanese floats. You get the full range of history of Japanese floats here, and it's absolutely free to come visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let's let everybody know too. Can we tell, you mentioned you're in Taft, but in south part of Lincoln City. Can you give us the address and what's the best way for people to come and check all this out at the museum?
Yeah, we are open 11 to 4, Wednesday through Saturday. We're free to the public. And our address is 4907 Southwest Highway. Right across the street from the hardware.
Okay, perfect. So people can get down there and check that out when you're going over to Lincoln City. I will definitely be stopping by next time I'm over there. You know, this is it's just such a cool program. 25 years, that's awesome. That shows the success of this, and people getting over there to take a look and getting to know some of the history of it there at the museum. Well, thank you both for joining us. Anything else that you think is important for people to know?
Just get out there, have fun, enjoy art, enjoy the beach, enjoy the museum, and you just might stumble upon a float.
There you go. So one of these days, I'm going to do it. Well, thank you.
I want to know, Greg. I want you to do
I'll let you know. I'll definitely let you know. Well, thank you to both of you for joining us. And for everybody watching too, this is Fox 12 Now. We live stream here from the Fox 12 Oregon newsroom every weekday, which means we get to do these longer segments and get to talk about really interesting things like this. And so thanks for joining us, everybody. You can catch this on our YouTube channel. If you're, well, obviously if you're watching live, you already found us. But afterward, just so you know, all of our segments are on our YouTube channel, KPTV.com, or the Fox 12 Oregon apps. So great places to find all of that. Well, thank you, Stephanie and Chris. And thanks to everybody watching. We'll talk to you soon. I'm Greg Nibbler. This is Fox 12 Now.